In our previous episode, we explored a world steeped in spiritual hunger, where the shadow of Sabbatai Zevi loomed large and the promise of redemption was desperately sought. Into this turbulent era, a man would emerge, not from the hallowed halls of rabbinic academies, but from the fringes, from a life of commerce and clandestine encounters. Before he became Jacob Frank the revolutionary, the controversial leader, he was simply Jakub Lejbowicz, a young man from a complex borderland, a restless seeker whose personal journey would ultimately redefine not just Judaism, but the very concept of heresy itself. How did an ordinary merchant transform into a self-proclaimed Messiah? Jakub Lejbowicz was born around 1726 in Korolówka, a small town in the Podolia region, a crossroads of cultures and religions within the vast Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. His origins were far from aristocratic or scholarly. His father, Judah Lejbowicz, was a traditional Jewish ritual slaughterer, but also a known Sabbatean sympathizer, a quiet adherent of the forbidden Messianic movement. This familial connection immediately set Jakub apart, even if subtly. Unlike most boys of his time and background, Jakub received only a very limited formal rabbinic education. He was no Talmudic prodigy. Instead of poring over sacred texts in a yeshiva, he spent his formative years in a less conventional classroom, the bustling marketplaces and diverse communities of the borderlands. This early exposure to a world beyond the strict confines of rabbinic Judaism would prove crucial, shaping a mind that was naturally curious, rebellious, and untethered by traditional dogma. As a young man, Jakub embarked on a path that would further distance him from the provincial life of Korolówka. He became a merchant. His trade took far and wide, particularly into the heart of the Ottoman Empire. This wasn't just a business trip, it was an intellectual and spiritual odyssey. The Ottoman lands were a refuge for many Jewish communities, including a significant number of covert Sabbateans who had, generations earlier, followed Sabbatai Zevi's apostasy and converted outwardly to Islam, becoming known as the Dawn Men. In Salonika, Smyrna, and other trading hubs, Jakub Lejbowicz, with his father's Sabbatean leanings, found himself drawn into these secret circles. He absorbed their esoteric teachings, their complex interpretations of messianic prophecy, and their radical reevaluation of morality. These weren't mere theological discussions. They were whispered revelations, promising a path to redemption found through breaking societal norms, a concept utterly foreign to the rabbinic Judaism he had left behind. Among the Sabbateans he met, particularly the Dawn Men, Jakub encountered beliefs that profoundly resonated with his unorthodoxy. These groups had refined the concept of syncretism, holy sin, a radical doctrine stemming from Sabbatai Zevi's conversion to Islam. For them, the Messiah had to descend into the depths of sin to retrieve lost divine sparks, making transgression a necessary act of cosmic repair, a path to ultimate holiness. It was an antinomian philosophy where traditional laws were not just challenged, but actively inverted. He likely met individuals who claimed direct lineage to Sabbatai Zevi's inner circle, sharing cryptic prophecies and interpreting biblical passages in ways that pointed to a hidden, often scandalous, messianic process. These intense experiences, the secretive meetings, the radical teachings, the deep dives into forbidden Kabbalah, were not just intellectual exercises for Jakub Lejbowicz. They were transformative. They molded his very being, cultivating a unique blend of personal charisma and an unshakable belief in his own special destiny. He saw himself as more than just a follower. He was a destined successor, chosen to complete the mission that Sabbatai Zevi had begun. He began to adopt the messianic airs he had witnessed and absorbed. His travels had given him worldliness, his clandestine studies a forbidden knowledge, and his innate magnetism now had a powerful purpose. He cultivated an enigmatic aura, a sense of having access to secrets others did not, preparing himself for the moment he would step forward and claim his messianic mantle. He was no longer just Jakub Lejbowicz the merchant. He was becoming Jacob Frank, the prophesied heir. Armed with this radical new doctrine and an invigorated sense of mission, Jakub Lejbowicz, now increasingly known as Jacob Frank, returned to his homeland of Poland in the mid-1750s. He was no longer the humble merchant. He returned as a man profoundly changed, radiating confidence and possessing a message designed to appeal to the disaffected, the desperate, and the spiritually hungry. He began to gather around him a small, fervent group of adherents, whispering to them a hidden path, a paradoxical redemption, and the imminent arrival of a new, revolutionary order. He returned not just as a merchant, but as a man possessed by a radical vision, a potent ideology that promised total liberation. He was ready to challenge centuries of war between the second and the myth that enacted it. Yahoo would actually put. He was ready to challenge centuries of tragedies of Jewish world react to a figure so openly defiant. The stage is set for an unprecedented confrontation. Join us next time as we witness Jacob Frank's bold ascent, his gathering of disciples, and the initial clashes that would ignite a religious firestorm.